Hi, I'm Nick Cuppis, founder of Smartline Putting. We've all heard for putting, distance control is your number one thing, the biggest deal without a doubt. And we all struggle at it. We all have 3 putts and we all struggle with distance control. And again, everybody is saying, hey, you've got to be able to accomplish that or get that skill if you want to become a better putter. Most of us have seen videos or coaches and they say, hey, when you've got a putt, you just get up there and you just try to feel the distance, okay? Look at it with your eyes and try to feel it, okay? Well, I don't think we can do that. I think we've got to have some mechanics behind it so that we actually know what we're trying to do with the putter so that we can actually know where it's going in our swing, okay? And what I mean by that is there's 2 main mistakes people make in putting that I've seen. And they either get up there and they make a giant backswing and then they'll decel through, or they'll make a short backswing and then they'll accelerate through and finish up here, okay? So if we look at those, we've got 2 main things that go into putting, controlling distance. We've got the length of our stroke, the overall length of our stroke, and then we've also got the tempo, okay? Now, I've done a bunch of studies between and testing it myself on TrackMan putting, Blast Golf, Sam Putt Lab, Capto, everything that I could find and test on stroke length, tempo, controlled the distance, okay? And the interesting thing again is when we look at other coaches or we look at other putting stuff that's out there, gurus and stuff, all of them say, hey, you want to feel it. Look at it with your eyes. Some even talk about don't make a practice swing. Just get up there and feel it, okay? What's interesting to me about that is when we look at wedges and like half wedges or partial wedges, almost everybody uses the clock system. Meaning, hey, if I want to go 40 yards, say, hey, that's my 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock swing. And we use these numbers. We know exactly where that club is supposed to go for us to do that. The other thing is if we watch pros play wedge shots or little partial shots, they'll make 5 and 6 practice swings. Nobody ever gets up there for a wedge shot and doesn't make a practice swing. So again, all of us regular golfers, we're always struggling with putting and people are always trying to get that distance control better, but we're not really ever changing the method or the style that we're trying to do it. So that's what I want to try to change and have a new idea, a fresh idea of how I'm trying to do that. So going back to my ruler here, okay? So going back to length of stroke, I've kind of figured out, hey, here's how much swing you need for some different distances, okay? And so I've kind of just spaced them out. We got 5, 10, 20, and 30. Now, it is not an exact because, again, every putt is a little bit different. I'll be the first one to say that. Sometimes I'm uphill, sometimes I'm downhill, sometimes it's a little faster green, sometimes it's slower than a green. But for the most part, if I'm on a pretty flat surface, hey, and I make this amount of stroke, the ball's going to go 5 feet. Okay? The other part is if I can get my stroke to be equal on both sides, that tempo is going to even out and my pace is going to be evening out and I won't have that big decel or that big acceleration. So I've got in the middle of this yardstick here the 0 and I'm going to put this down right here. Okay? So that's my starting point. On this one here, the first one, I've got 2 5s. So basically if I get my putter, the face of the putter to go back to this 5 and go through to this 5, hey, that's going to go roughly 5 feet. And you can kind of see when I go from 5 to 5, hey, it's going about the same length back and through, and the tempo is pretty even, okay? So now, the way that I like to do this is I'm going to put that ball on the 0, and again, I can move the ruler closer if I want. I got it right here. What I'll include too is this chalk pen, and I've put 2 little dots where the 5s were, so I know that, hey, my stroke is going back to this dot I did, the 5, and then through to this one. Now again, to see true speed, we're going to use the ghost hole. Because if I have a regular hole and I hit a putt that is, say I have a 5-foot putt, and I hit it too hard, but it goes in the hole, that appears to me that it was a good putt. But it could have the speed that it could go 3 or 4 feet by, and it could still go in the hole. So again, the ghost hole is going to show us exactly what that speed is. So again, right now I'm doing a 5-footer. So I know that if I go back to here and through to here, that should go about 5 feet, okay? So we're going to try one here. Okay, and we can see that ball go right over. Maybe went about close to a foot by. Okay, maybe a little bit firm there. Okay, let's do another. Okay, about the same right there. Okay, maybe green's a little bit fast. That's okay. I'm right on line, and I would be happy with that speed. I've hit that about 5 feet. Okay, now, as I get better with this, I've got to be able to take this to the course. So the way that I'm going to do that, I'm going to move this yardstick up. And if I get set to my stroke for 5 feet, and I get set with my stance, hey, this 5 and this 5 are kind of going at my big toes or like the inside of my feet. So if I was out playing, I've got to translate this to my body, okay, and I'm going to use my feet for this one. And I know that if I get set and I do a putting stroke that's about from my big toe to big toe, that's going to go about 5 feet. Okay? Okay? Happy with that speed right there. Okay? So now I have a good understanding of what actually 5 feet is. Okay? Now if I was doing it with a hole, I'd probably do this for a 4-foot putt. And again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this yardstick and I'm going to measure it out. The other part I like about actually measuring out and knowing versus me just trying to feel it is I know that's 5 feet. So most times when I have students and I ask them, hey, how far that is? They're like, I don't know, 3 feet, 8 feet. Everybody's all over the board. Let's be exact, okay? So now, I did that for 0, and I'll do a couple of close-ups of how I put these dots down so you can kind of see it, of how I kind of marked it. So again, I could kind of take the ruler away if I wanted to, okay? So now I put another dot out here. I'm gonna put this over at 10 feet, okay? So I've already marked that off. That's 10 feet away. So I'm gonna take my golf balls back. Again, I've got the ruler, so I'm gonna start off with that. Again, face goes back, front of the face, or face goes to 10 to 10. Okay? Okay, and if I do that stroke, this should go right about 10 feet. Okay? Good. Okay, it was maybe a little bit long on the backswing there. Okay, and again, that's what I want. How it stopped like right at 10 feet. I'm looking for an exact distance right now. Okay, I'm not looking for, hey, this is for a 10-footer and I want it to have enough speed to go past. I'm trying to control 10 feet. And again, if I looked at this, 10 is, hey, it's kind of like the outside or like my pinky toes. Okay, so now I've got something to reference that to. But again, instead of you going, and again, because I've measured that out, my brain is starting to understand what 10 feet is. Okay, and the example I would use is, if you would look at somebody who was about 6 feet tall, we all kind of know what height is based on people, and so we look at them and go, hey, that person's about 6 feet tall. They're maybe 5'6" or whatever they may be, but we can recognize that because we've kind of used that a bunch, okay? Instead of just kind of feeling it, we all know what it is. So again, I know now what 10 feet looks like. I've got 20 and 30 on here, and those are really important distances. And again, I would do the same drill, put that out there. So again, I want to get away from the idea of just trying to feel it all the time, and I want to be a little more exact. Now you might say, Nick, what if I have a 10-footer down the hill? Okay, then guess what? Just like you would do for if we had that pitch shot that was 40 yards, and let's say it's with the wind and you need to take a little off, you just make a little smaller swing. So if I was here and I said, hey, I want my 10-foot putt, this is a 10-footer, but I feel like it's a little fast. Okay, now I'm going to make a little smaller stroke. Okay, and look, I got the ball to go shorter. So again, there's always going to be adjustments, but this idea of me just going off of feel all the time, I just see so many people just struggle with speed and their stroke be so far off in length of swing and tempo, there's no way they're ever going to be consistent. Those are the two parts we need to be consistent. And again, with this system and this idea, I think you can do it. Again, it's going to take some practice, but again, you'll have the ruler and you'll have the dots there so you can kind of check that. So again, you have the yardstick with the numbers on it. That'll give you your distances. You've got the chalk pen and you've got the ghost hole to give you that true distance. If you work on this, I know you will get better at your distance control instead of you just trying to go ahead and feel it. I know you're going to get better. You will know exactly what the distances are and what you're trying to do with your stroke. And with that, you're going to have better distance control.